Hey guys, Joyful Gamer here, and today we are doing a new what if that I thought of yesterday, and I wasn't sure if I should do it, but what if this is a what if of what if Izuku became a Jedi? I'm not gonna say was or is, but I'm gonna say became a Jedi by being trained for like a few years and stuff like that. And the way I'm going to do this, you'll see. And also, if you see the picture or the drawing, remember, this is not my drawing. I'm using this as a reference to see how Izuku would look like. And actually, I was thinking of maybe his hero suit would look like this, as a traditional Jedi suit, with a few different looks. And pretty much, if the person who ever draw this, I hope I can use this drawing. If not, I'll try to look for a different drawing or something. But if I can, thank you very much. And also, guys, please support the person who ever drew this, because it's a pretty cool drawing actually, because it caught my eye. But I digress. So we first continue into a galaxy far, far away. And it's not in Izuku's world first. I forgot. If any of you remember the old Cartoon Network show, Star Wars Rebels, yeah, you can see who's gonna train Izuku. So I continue with Izuku pretty much. Sorry, Ezra doing the same thing as canon for like Star Wars Rebels. He used the Force to get these whales. I forgot what the whales were called, but pretty much they were gonna hyperspeed into somewhere else. With not knowing where to go, not knowing where they're gonna go, or anything, just by chance, anything. And the others saw this on Ezra ending this and sacrificing himself. But then a couple seconds later, Ezra noticed something. He was going so fast, and it looked amazing. Even it looked really beautiful, but he was tired. Then the whales let go. But not just that, he was falling into the atmosphere. Luckily, his unconscious body, literally by sheer luck, went into an air pod. A pod in the ship. But of course the pod didn't work, but the ship crash landed into a forest. But before we continue, let's backtrack a bit. Like about a week or so, with pretty much Izuku being told that he's quirkless, that he can't do anything about it, and he should give up on his dream. With Inko and Hisashi being angry at the doctor, pretty much punching the doctor because he bluntly told his son that he can't do anything about it. And pretty much, of course, Hisashi told the doctor to not ever speak bluntly to a child. With Izuku saying that, can I be a hero? With Hisashi saying, yes, you can, but it's going to be very difficult. And you're going to have to work extremely hard. No matter what, you can become a hero. You just have to work extremely hard for it, son. Understood? With Izuku looking at his dad and then looking at his mom, with her mom just shaking her head, smiling, with Izuku smiling, and then Hisashi and Ingo leave. That was a bit of an accident. With Hisashi being a bit angry, but not showing it. And then he thinks of something, saying, I got it. Why don't we go camping for a week or so we can try to feel better, you know? With Inko thinking that it's a good idea, so the whole family can, spend time together. With pretty much Inko saying that she's gonna be a bit busy. With Hisashi saying it's fine, maybe next week. You can tell your boss tomorrow, right? With Inko saying yes, but how are we gonna camp? We barely have any tents or anything. with Hisashi saying, I can make a few calls for that, so don't worry. Sorry. Then we skip a week later. Pretty much we see Hisashi, Inko, and Izuku pretty much going to a camping trip. Pretty much them singing along, having good times, all that stuff. Making s'mores, doing singing under the stars. And pretty much one night, Izuku just decided to sit out with Hisashi also. Pretty much, Hisashi sees Izuku and notices that he's sad. With Hisashi saying, "Hey bud, are you okay?" With Izuku saying, "No." With Hisashi saying, "What's wrong? You can tell me." With Izuku saying, I don't know why, but Kachan is bullying me now." With Hisashi surprised saying, "What? Little Bakugo? Why?" With Izuku looking at him saying, "Before we left to go camping, I told Kachan that I was quirkless." And pretty much, he called me a useless Deku. Am I useless, Dad? With Izuku on the verge of tears, with Hisashi looking at him saying, "Son, remember what I told you in the hospital when you were told you're quirkless?" With Izuku says, "Yes, I can be a hero if I work hard enough, right?" With Hisashi shaking his head saying, "Yeah. So, do you want to become a hero?" With Izuku just shaking his head saying, "Yes, I want to be a hero like All Might." And Hisashi saying, "But know this, a lot of people will say a lot of mean things to you to give up on something called a dream that you want to do. A lot of people do this because they don't have their dream, or because they think that you're not worthy of the dream." With Hisashi saying, "But you follow your heart and do whatever you think is right. Okay, son?" With Izuku shaking his head saying, "Yes, Dad." Wait. Okay, sorry. I need to go get some water because my throat is dry. Pretty much, Hisashi and Izuku hug. With Izuku looking up and saying, "Dad, look. A shooting star." With Hisashi saying, "Huh? Well, it's lucky for..." And then he sees it getting bigger and bigger. With Hisashi saying, "It's not a shooting star, Izuku." With Izuku saying, "What? What do you..." And Hisashi saying, "Izuku, we gotta run! Wake up your mom now!" With Hisashi and Inko and Izuku about to run to the car, for some reason the car doesn't start. But then some big explosion happens. And it was, thankfully, it was not super close. Thankfully, they were lucky on that part, because they can see the crater is extremely big. It's pretty big for a crater. With Izuku hearing a voice saying, help me." With Izuku walking towards it, with Hisashi saying, "Izuku, where are you going?" With Izuku saying, "I can hear a voice saying help. I think there's someone in there." With Hisashi saying, "Damn it. Fine, I'm coming. You be careful, okay? Follow me. Just wait for me. But you have to be careful and stay behind me if anything happens." Sorry. With Hisashi saying, "Okay," and just pretty much slowly walking to what looks like a gate, which is one, and looks around saying that everything looks beat up. And then Izuku hears a voice again saying, "Help me." With Izuku walking towards where he's hearing it, with Hisashi saying, "Izuku, where are you going?" With Izuku saying, I hear it over here." With Hisashi just thinking, saying, What's happening? If he's saying that he can hear a voice, why can't I?" Pretty much that's what he's thinking. Then, when he gets to the end of the hallway, Izuku turns the corner, and he hears the voice again. Help me. With the voice getting a bit more louder. With Izuku saying, Dad, over here! Pointing at the way, with Hisashi actually running a bit faster, because he doesn't want to lose track of his son. And of course they keep running and running and running. And then they bump into an area that looks like pods. With Izuku looking around, with both of them huffing and puffing a lot, with Hisashi saying, So, where is it? With then Izuku listening carefully when the voice saying once again saying, Help me. And Izuku says, This one, right here. With Hisashi looking at it, saying, I might have to melt it. Stand back, Izuku. That's when Izuku stands back and he knows what his dad's gonna do. And that's when Hisashi starts breathing his fire to melt the door, which was sealed shut. Sorry about that again. With Izuku amazed, then they both see what looks like a teenager that was unconscious. With the voice saying, Help me. And then Izuku says, That's him. Instantly, pretty much Hisashi carries the teen, and they were able to navigate through again. With instantly Hisashi going back to camp with Izuku, with Inko extremely worried for them, and then when she sees them in the distance, she's so thankful. She's thankful that they're fine. But then she notices that he has someone in his arms. And then when he starts running, he sees him, and she says, Who is he? With Hisashi saying, I don't know, but this kid is pretty hurt maybe. Is there a hospital anywhere near? With Inko saying, No, not for the next few miles. With Hisashi saying, Damn it. With Hisashi saying, damn it, what can we do? And Hisashi starts thinking, saying, get the first aid. And pretty much they get the first aid and they patch up the kid, which they don't know who it is, but it's Ezra Bridges. And pretty much, of course, about half a day pass. Pretty much, of course, it's sort of like morning at this point, and then the next half day pass. With Izuku, with the Ezra waking up saying, Oh, my head. Oh, Christ. Ow. And pretty much his vision starts getting blurry, and then Hisashi sees that he's awake, saying, The kid's awake! With Inko running up to it and saying, Are you okay? Are you okay? Like Hisashi saying, Hey kid, are you okay? Is there anything? Do you need to be taken to a hospital or anything? With the kid saying, Who are you? Oh my god. Pretty much, Hisashi says, I'm Hisashi Midoriya, and this is my wife, Inko Midoriya. And here's my son, too, Izuku Midoriya. You're lucky to be alive because of him. He followed your voice. With Ezra saying, My voice? But I was unconscious for most of the time. Sorry, I was drinking water. And pretty much... So, I digress. We continue with Ezra saying, But I wasn't talking. I was mostly unconscious. With Ezra asking, Wait, for how long was I unconscious? With Hisashi saying, I don't know. Besides you getting out of us helping you out of the pod, I would say like 12 to 12 and a half hours. With Ezra saying, ah, damn it. Oh, God. This really hurts. With Ezra trying to sit up straight. With Hisashi saying, wait. You don't... calm down. You seem pretty injured, so... we're gonna take you to the hospital, but do you have any family? Any family or friends? With Ezra saying, no, I'm an orphan. But pretty much, of course, he does have a family, which is, of course, the rebels. With him, yes, but of course they think he's dead by now, so he's like, I'm an orphan. I don't have a family. With he's actually saying, sorry, but do you have a name that we can call you by? With Ezra saying, Ezra Bridges. With Hisashi saying, Ezra Bridges. Okay, so Ezra, I want you to calm down and lay down for a bit and heal and try to heal again. So is that okay? With Ezra saying, okay, but can you at least get me out of this thing or vehicle, whatever? With Hisashi saying, yeah, sure. Here. With, of course, carefully taking Ezra out of the car. With pretty much him sitting Ezra down very carefully. And then Ezra stands up a bit straight, looks around saying, and then goes to where, asks of where he found him. With Izuku saying, oh, I can show you where. And Ezra saying, sure, kid, show the way. With pretty much Izuku and Hisashi show where Ezra was, with pretty much showing a ginormous crater. With Ezra shocked, saying, how the hell did I survive that? With Hisashi saying, I don't know, but you must have dumb luck on your side there. With Hisashi saying, look, Ezra, I don't know if it's okay to call you that, but Ezra saying, yeah, it's fine. So, what is it? With Hisashi saying, I don't know what this thing is, but you dropped it after me and my son found you, and my son said that we should bring this with us, so... And that's when he takes out a weird device, with Ezra grabs it and says, oh my goodness, it's safe. It's not broken, is it? And looks at it with Hisashi and Izuku confused, with Ezra pressing a button, and then they just hear a humming. Then a beam of light that appears. With Izuku kind of seeing it as an awe, he was gonna touch it. With Ezra turning it off, saying, I don't think you should do that. With Izuku saying, why? It looks pretty. With Ezra saying, it may, but he goes up to a tree and then turns it on. With instantly without trying, just cuts it in half. With Izuku and Hisashi extremely shocked that something that beautiful, something that amazing can be so dangerous. With Hisashi saying, that was a weapon? With Ezra saying, yeah, but I don't use it as much. I only use it as a last precaution, you know? With Hisashi understands saying, yeah, but how did you make that? It would be revolutionary for people to have that. With Ezra saying, a very rare few can have it, and only people with the Force can use it. With Hisashi saying, what? What's the Force? With Ezra saying, you don't know what the Force is? With pretty much Hisashi saying, no, I don't. With pretty much Ezra saying, I don't know how to explain it very well, but think of the Force as a type of, how do you say? energy. It's everywhere. It connects all of us. But very little few can actually connect to the Force, which lets us borrow its power so we can protect others that are needed to be protected. With Izuku saying, "Is that your quirk?" And Ezra says, "What's a quirk?" With, of course, Hisashi and Izuku being confused, saying, "You don't know what a quirk is?" With Ezra just shaking his head, saying, "No, not really, sorry." With, of course, Izuku saying, pretty much, Ezra saying, "It's kind of like a superpower that you're born with, but you get it until the age of 4. With pretty much Ezra saying, "Oh, it's like comics like that?" With Izuku saying, "Yeah, it's like comics, superhero comics, but superheroes are real in here." With Ezra saying, "Wait, I need to go get something from the ship." With Hisashi saying, "What is there on the ship?" With Ezra saying, "You'll see. It might take me a few hours, so don't worry about it." With pretty much Ezra walking towards of course, the big place where the ship was, and pretty much he's walking towards it and goes inside it. And of course, we skip ahead for a few hours about Izuku and Hisashi telling Inko what this Force thing is, and what the kid had, and he doesn't know what a quirk is. With, of course, Izuku and Hisashi hear rustling, with Hisashi and Izuku kind of jump, with Ezra saying, it's me, don't worry, sorry for making you jump. Oh, sorry it took me a while too, so here we go, I got it too." Which shows a bit of a tablet. I don't remember if this is like a thing in this, Star Wars thing, like to show what planet is called, like. But I'm just gonna make the item up, and pretty much it's called a planet tablet, which can actually gain information about a planet that you scan, but I guess it might not scan as easily because everything in that ship is destroyed, which he did try, and it slightly worked, but not too much. With pretty much Izuku and Hisashi and Inko looking at the tablet, with, of course, Ezra presses a button on the tablet, which turns it on, and then it shows the planet Earth. With Ezra reading it, with, of course, Izuku, Hisashi, and Inko aren't able to understand it or read it, with, of course, Ezra saying, "So, this is planet 1A1A-153, okay." And then, pretty much, he scanned, and it showed, like, videos about him using the Force to, like, do, like, stuff like that, like the same thing as canon, for, like, the season finale and the last episode, like that. And pretty much, Izuku and Hisashi and Inko see this, which pretty much are shocked, and see that this kid was not from their planet. He's like an extraterrestrial in a way. With Izuku saying, "Wait, so you're not from our planet?" With Ezra saying, "No, but I can understand you because of this." And he points to a little item, let's say there's like a little earpiece on him, with Izuku saying, "What about it?" With Ezra saying, "Well, it can actually translate most speeches in the galaxies, but some of them are a bit more difficult to understand." With Izuku saying, "Like what?" And Ezra says, "Chewbacca's. Those were pretty difficult to understand. You have to be a very, very, very good translator to understand that without these pieces." Let's say it's like made up, okay? So please don't hate me. With Izuku thinking it's cool, and Hisashi thinks it's amazing too. And Ezra just felt kind of bored and just asked if they have something to, like mess around with. With Hisashi just going to the truck saying, we have this Rubik's Cube. With Ezra saying, what's a Rubik's Cube? With Hisashi saying, wait, you never, and remembering that he is not from their planet. And he says, Rubik's Cube is like a puzzle game, you can say. The goal is pretty much just, like, try to make all the colored squares to be faced again. Like, you can't miss like one square and leave it like that. They all have to be the same color with all solids. With Ezra saying, oh, I understand, and pretty much just puts it in his palm and just closes his eyes. With Izuku, Inko, and Hisashi confused and look at each other. With Hisashi was about to say something, but then the cube was starting to float, which shocked everyone. But then it started to turn by itself, with even Ezra not touching it. With Izuku amazed about this, and knowing that he's not from Earth, and also it's not a quirk, pretty much he thought it was amazing. Hisashi and Inko were amazed too that something like this type of power can exist in the galaxies. Sorry. With pretty much Izuku, when Ezra finishes it, the cube drops, and of course the cube was solved. With Ezra just looking at it saying, I guess it's done. With him just, again, holding it and letting it float, and he's just mixing it up again for just fun. With, of course, Inko, Izuku, and Hisashi are extremely shocked of what they're seeing here. And Izuku just said, can you teach me that? With Ezra saying, I probably can't, I don't know. With Hisashi saying, what do you mean you don't know? Didn't you say that everyone is connected to the Force? With Ezra saying, yes and no. With pretty much, Hisashi saying, what do you mean? With Ezra saying, the Force is something that you have to be gifted, like born with, almost. But who knows? I don't know how, it's possible to teach him. I can teach him, yes. I can teach him some of the forms, some of the fighting techniques. But the way you can get this saber, with Ezra showing him the saber, with Ezra saying, it's by some special gem that only the Jedis can get. With Hisashi saying, Jedis? With Ezra saying, well, Jedis are like knights. Instead of protecting one Earth, like you said, superheroes, we protect different galaxies. So we are all spread it out to different galaxies. Sorry. With Hisashi saying, so there's multiple of them. Okay, but how do you know when he's... With Ezra saying, you don't. You just feel it, You don't try to, force it out, but you just feel it, Well, that's the best that I can explain it from my point of view. For every single one of them is different. For my master, it was something of more of a training thing. But I don't know for Izuku. I can sense a little bit of the Force in him, but I don't know if it's going to be strong enough to be able to evolve into something so he can become a Jedi. With Hisashi saying, since there was a little bit of there's a little bit for him to be able to use it, it's still possible. Sorry. With Hisashi saying, so you can train him, right? With Ezra saying, yes, but it might take him a few years. Because it took me about 3 to... I don't remember how long it took Ezra, since I have not seen the show in a long time. But I'm guessing, if I remember correctly, it took him about 2 to 3 years, maybe? I don't remember. With Hisashi saying, well, we've got enough time. With Hisashi asking if he can train him right now. With Izuku actually saying, "Yes, I want. Please train me." With Ezra saying, "Okay then, but just letting you know, it's gonna be a bit difficult. It's more of a mental type of thing than more of a physical body thing. But I would recommend you doing both. But first, we need to meditate so we can have a clear mind and be able to use the Force. I'll be able to show you the right way to use it, not let the dark side consume you." With Hisashi saying, "Wait, what do you mean the dark side?" With Ezra saying, "Yeah, there's something I haven't told you, but there's bad Jedis. We call them the Siths." With Hisashi saying, "What do you mean?" With Ezra saying, "Yeah. You know, like how there's a dark and there's like a night and day." Hisashi saying, "Yeah, what about it?" With Ezra saying, "It's the same thing. The Force has two sides, night, like dark and light. The light is the good, the dark is the bad. But there was one chosen amongst the Jedi. His name was Luke Skywalker, the one that defeated the Dark Sith Lord. He's a legend amongst us many Jedi. He's well known and well respected, so we do not tarnish the name. We can only speak the name if it's only for teachings and everything. So, in a way, I did explain it to you as teachings." Let's just say it's like that, okay? So, pretty much, yeah. Please don't hate me. I do see somewhat of Star Wars, not everything, but yeah. So pretty much is how she's saying, "Oh, okay." With with pretty much Ezra saying, "I'm ready to start, Izuku?" With Izuku saying, "Yes, I'm ready." With Hisashi just watching. And of course, they start meditating. With, of course, Izuku was patient at first, but then he started getting more impatient later on. Ezra started noticing this, but he didn't say anything else, just kept on saying the same thing. With Izuku getting a bit angry, something happened. When he got angry and lashed out a bit, things moved away, like pushed. With Izuku looking at this, with Ezra saying, "I guess you passed the test." With Izuku saying, "What test?" Ezra saying, "I wanted to make sure if you actually have it. So I kind of wanted to use your patience against you to see if you can move things and let your emotions kind of, you can use kind of your emotions there, you know?" Izuku doesn't understand, but says, "Okay." And of course, Ezra does show some of the fighting techniques with a little bit of a stick, like a wooden stick. With Hisashi saying that he can invite them to his house to, like, so you can still train and live there. Ezra saying thanks, but he's gonna need some things before he leaves. And with Hisashi saying, "Yeah, take your time, it's fine." With Ezra going back to the ship, it looks like he's looking for something. With Izuku pretty much following him, he asks of what he's doing. With Ezra saying, "Oh, I'm looking for a radio, a communicator to be able to communicate my old team. I kind of got separated, you know? So, if I can find all the pieces here to be able to rebuild it, then I think I can be able to do that." Let's just say Ezra can do that, okay? So please don't hate me or anything. With Izuku saying, "Oh, so you're thinking of going back home?" With Ezra saying, "Yeah, after everything else, I'm probably thinking I am. But don't worry, I can come visit any time." With Izuku being thankful, saying, "Okay." With Ezra saying, "But for now, let's continue training." Of course, Ezra does get the parts where there is some, like, luckily the parts were not destroyed, but there were some important pieces that were, but can still be replaced, because there's like some things that can be replaced, mostly because he can rebuild the parts, thankfully. I don't know if it's canon, I don't remember it, but let's say he can rebuild the parts. With pretty much, of course, Ezra teaching Izuku how to fight as a Jedi, how to think as a Jedi, how to use the Force, how to let it guide you, stuff like that. The same training, he blindfolded him and told him that the way he has to let his senses go and trust the Force. He has to believe in it, like it's his other part. Like it's one, you're one with it, and it's one with you. You understand? Izuku saying, "Yes, sir." And Ezra saying, "Okay, I will start, but I won't tell you when I'm gonna throw." Izuku just high on guard. Kind of. This is like a year after Izuku's training, pretty much, and Izuku does have the basics down, but he's not able to do anything as much like Ezra, force push, force jump, stuff like that. Izuku is learning and he's able to do it. Well, not that strongly, but still he's able to do it. With Izuku able to carry with a baseball, and it starts getting bigger and bigger, the item to carry, and even went to carry Ezra himself, Izuku, with Ezra saying, so you can be able to feel comfortable for, just in case to help, so you can become a hero, right? Izuku saying, yeah, probably. With Ezra saying, so, now you trained everything, but you need to do something that every Jedi has to do. Izuku saying, what is it? You have to face your fear. Izuku saying, what? With Ezra saying, yep, that's the most difficult part too. Because you can fail. Because if you do, the dark side will consume you. Well, that's what I'm gonna. I know it's not a thing, but it's a thing to just scare kind of Izuku to be careful to not fall into the dark side. Because Izuku did see that. Well, he heard from Ezra about the bad things that the dark side does, even to the point of destroying planets that don't want to go under its rule. With Izuku was scared, but thankfully one ship was destroyed by Anakin Skywalker. No, he's Darth Vader. Duh, what's wrong with me? Luke Skywalker, thank you. With pretty much Izuku just kind of scared just hearing the name Darth Vader. With pretty much Ezra saying that it's understandable because Darth Vader is just hearing the name of him brings fear to any Jedi, even those who never heard him. With Izuku saying, so how will I get my lightsaber? With Ezra saying, just kind of chuckling, saying, it's not an easy task. Remember, you have to try to face your fear. You can't destroy it. You have to accept the fear. Your fear to be able to move forward. With Izuku saying, wait, but didn't you say to not go to the dark side? With Ezra saying, well, yes, I did, but what I more likely meant is to not let it consume you. Because from my point of view, you can actually use the dark side without being evil, but you have to balance yourself out in a way, you know? You can be in between, dark and light. So you can still use the, force choke, you can still use, the lightning, stuff like that, you know what I mean? So, that's what I think of it, that's what I think of it, personally. So, pretty much, Izuku is being trained, and of course he gets bullied by, of course, his friends. What used to be his friends. With pretty much 2 years later passed, Izuku is pretty much a master at the Force now. Well, not master, but he actually is able to keep himself under control. He knows all the bait. He knows everything that now that Ezra pretty much been taught by his master, and pretty much is well known. Is pretty much he knows well on fighting as Jedi. With Izuku just pretty much being taught, with then Izuku actually trying to teach himself on trying to learn people's moves by just seeing them. You know what I mean? With pretty much Izuku just starting to be more like a combatant. With Ezra being surprised that Izuku was able to learn this at such a young age. With, of course, Ezra kind of teaching me, saying that Izuku shouldn't always trust in his lightsaber because he can always be separated from it, which actually happened to Ezra a couple times. With Izuku then thinking that he should go into self-defense classes, with of course his dad agreeing with this because if you get your lightsaber and you accidentally, drop it and it gets away from you, it wouldn't be good in a fight. So of course Izuku goes to self-defense classes for a few years, pretty much, like in 12, and of course he doesn't show it. He doesn't want to show his force powers, but he does use it at subtly. Like people won't notice it, Pretty much Izuku he does it on smaller objects, like for example a milk carton, like a pencil, a baseball bat, a baseball bat, like whatever you can, like small items, so it can be subtle, So pretty much Izuku tries to hide this because people would be questioning it. With, of course, Bakugo making fun of Izuku. With Bakugo was about to, of course, doing the same thing as canon, like where we left. Now that we're pretty much that we did all that jump. Pretty much, of course, Bakugo still bullies Izuku, but with Izuku knowing self-defense, he kind of beats Bakugo in it. With, of course, Bakugo going to the office because of bullying and stuff like that. With pretty much Ezra actually finishing the radio at that time, which Izuku was about to go into his first day of high school. Sorry,